Good evening. How about the Jefferson Mariachis? Let's give them a round of applause. Good job. With their director, Mr. Ledesma, congratulations. And we also want to congratulate and give our acknowledgements to our greeters, the Jefferson Lassos and Lariats and Drumline. Let's hear it for them. My name is Ed Garza. I am the trustee for District 7. I want to welcome all of you. We're in person. We're back with our Jefferson YWA Education Leadership Council, our monthly forum. We've been meeting on Zoom since the start of the school year. We meet the third Wednesday of the month. And this is a special, not only return to in-person, Joe, but also having and hosting the State of the District Town Hall with our superintendent and an opportunity to get an update on the bond program. We have exciting news across the district, not only Jefferson, our host school, and Mr. Halderman, our principal, is going to give us some updates. But we also have for the bond 2020 that the voters approved. Thank you very much. We have the Young Women's Leadership Academy, which is District 7, 6th through 12th grade. The flagship of YWLA. Of course, there's a primary school now that we're very proud of. Principal McLaren's done an excellent job growing our primary school, but YWLA is earmarked for $50 million of bond improvements for this bond 2020. So we're excited. And we're going to go over this later, but I just wanted to give context to tonight that we have some great news, exciting things that are happening. More students are returning in person as we continue to see our 7-day positivity rate stable down below the 5% range. And so thank you for our community for coming together, being patient, working with our partners to get through this pandemic, especially for the students, most importantly, because we know that especially our seniors this year, they've dealt with this their junior and senior year. And we want to continue to make this academic year a full year all the way to the end, all the way to graduation so that we can celebrate their success. So tonight, that is our agenda. We have our superintendent that will bring not only an update on our academic progress pre-pandemic, but also some of the things that you'll be seeing rolled out at the end of this school year, this summer, and going into next school year. Of course, health and safety being our priority, but getting all of our students caught up to where they were pre-pandemic. That is our commitment. That's our priority. We know that in order to be a national model urban school district and our destination being an A-rated school district, we have to get every student accounted for in school and on track to realizing their full potential. I'm also pleased to be joined by my colleague, our board president, Ms. Patty Radel. Thank you for joining us. I know she has been attending several of the town halls throughout SCISD, and we're fortunate to have her leadership on the board and working with a dynamic group of individuals. We also have with us and I'm not going to steal the thunder, but we have all of our feeder schools. You're going to hear from them out in the hallways throughout the campus. But I just wanted to let you know how proud we are and excited we are to see everybody in person again and to be able to start planning for the future. And what you're going to see a little bit here at Jefferson is what you're going to be seeing throughout the district, throughout District 7. All of our high schools have had 3 bond phases. Going back to when I was first elected in 2010, that was our first successful bond in over 15 years. And the voters overwhelmingly approved that bond in 2010. And all of our high schools were earmarked for funds, but it wasn't enough. And so phase 2 included our comprehensive high schools again. And this third phase, Bond 2020, is to complete our high schools so that we can continue to emphasize all of the needs throughout our district. All of the District 7 schools have been in one of these 3 bonds that you're about to see. We have a Baskin and primarily Baskin that received funds before 2010 that will be a priority in the next round of funding. But we're excited. I know our principals are excited. Thank you all for being here, not only with the academic success and transformation, but the facilities. So with that, I'm going to ask Principal Halderman to come up and introduce our special guests that are with us here tonight. He'll also be joined by Principal McLaren, who will also bring greetings, as we're very proud to have 2 high schools in District 7. That's a great thing to have. We have great choices for all families. And so he'll be introducing our feeder school principals, as well as then our superintendent. So Principal Halderman.
Thank you, Trustee Garza. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to historic Thomas Jefferson Ivy World School. My name is Ralph Halderman. Thank you for being here tonight. I just have to share this story, and I know my wife's going to say, don't do it. But this is the first time I wore a suit since the pandemic. First time I put on a tie. So today I was in my office and I was trying to button my top button of this suit shirt, and it was pretty tough. So anyway, I'm glad to see us all here together again. My colleagues and I are excited to have this opportunity to share with you the amazing things that are happening in our schools. I stand before you today as the proud head of school of a campus that is rich, that has a rich history and traditions that date back all the way to 1932. Although we have one of, if not the most beautiful campus in the country, it has been the faculty, staff, students that have walked these hallways over the last 89 years that have set us apart from everybody else. I am a firm believer that the people in the building make the difference. One of my core beliefs is that the teacher is the most important person within our organization. I have been in education for over 34 years, and I can say without reservation that teachers, not only at Jefferson, but in all of SAISD, are the most dedicated and committed to our children. In SAISD, every student's dream can come true. On that note, our alumni, some of which are in attendance tonight, have gone on to make a positive difference in their respective communities and in the world. Alumni from Jefferson have gone on to become Nobel Peace Prize winners, military leaders, politicians, acclaimed journalists, entertainers, and professional athletes, to name a few. If you are an alumni of Thomas Jefferson, please stand at this time and be recognized. Let's give them a hand. You don't have to be a politician. You don't have to be a pro sports athlete. We have many, thousands upon thousands of alumni that make a difference right here on the west side of San Antonio. And for that, I thank you. We share this with our students, that this can be you if you put your mind to it. We tell them to dream big. So who are we? We're an International Baccalaureate World School. The IB Teaching and Learning Philosophy develops inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young adults who are motivated to succeed by building their critical thinking skills, nurturing their curiosity, and their ability to solve complex problems. We ask our students to think globally and act locally. We are also a national AVID demonstration school. Advancement via individual determination. That's what AVID stands for. It provides our students with the soft skills needed to be able to be successful as they tackle the rigor of college coursework year after year. It gets them college ready. And I'm really excited about this. We're going to add dual languages this year. Really excited about that opportunity. I can tell you what, there was a student that said, I know I can do this. I know I'm smart enough. I'm having issues with the language barrier. Our students are smart enough and they can do this. So I think it's very important that we're going to offer this here at Thomas Jefferson High School so we can reach all of our children. Really excited. I want to thank Superintendent Martinez, the board, for giving us this opportunity to add that to what we do here. On top of all that, we are still a comprehensive high school. We have dual credit and AP courses. We have award-winning programs, fine arts in the performing and visual. We have an award-winning JROTC unit. We are the home of the world famous Lassos, and you saw them out there today. And we have multiple pathways for our students. We have multiple pathways, CTE pathways, excuse me, for our students to choose from. And we have competitive athletic programs. Just this year, I want you to look at this table right here. Wow. I just want to say wow. And that has to do with you. It starts at home. It starts at home with you, the parents. So thank you so much. Our coaches appreciate that. I know our teachers appreciate that. So thank you. So some of our accomplishments, this year we have 6 district championships. We have 2 in cross country, 2 in basketball, 1 in girls soccer, and 1 in boys golf. We have runner-up district championship in boys soccer and girls golf. We have track area and regional qualifiers, and we have a tennis area qualifier. Our JROTC Crimson Brigade, and I see Colonel Cheatham, I see Lieutenant Colonel Chavis back there. I don't know if I see First Sergeant back there. Those are amazing men. Is that Mr. Darden back there? Is that you? Yes, sir. And I know you get those young men ready when they come up here. So thank you, sir. Well, they're the first we are the first SAISD school to ever have the armed and unarmed teams compete at nationals in Daytona. They're leaving next week. And Colonel Cheatham, I would love if you could find some funds for me to be able to fly out there and watch them. I'm just saying. We also, our visual arts have been successful this year. I don't know if you had an opportunity, but We had a successful IB and AP art exhibit at Blue Star Art Gallery. That was amazing. So yes, congratulations to them. And we have received numerous medals this year at the VASE this year. And we got 6 gold and 2 silver. So congratulations to all of our art teachers. I know Ms. Smith's out there somewhere, Ms. Perez is out there somewhere, so thank you for that. Well, it goes without saying that the successes of our students would not be possible if it were not for the leadership and dedication of my colleagues of District 7 that have joined me here tonight. At this time, I'd like to introduce them. If you would please stand when I introduce, or just wave, because you're on those high chairs, you got to get up and down, so we don't have to do that. So just wave. First, I would like to recognize Principal Marissa Mendez from Nelson. Principal Yvonne Martinez from Baskin Elementary. Head of School, Dr. Tamari J. Ozuna from Fenwick Academy. Head of School, Linda Rios Garcia from Huppert's Elementary. Principal Liana Cano from Madison Elementary. Principal Layla Garza from Maverick Elementary. Head of School, Martha Leticia Martinez Silva from Woodlawns Hills Elementary. Head of School, Karen Rose from Woodlawn Academy. Is Karen here? And then Head of School, Nancy Rodriguez from Longfellow Middle School. At this time, I would really like to recognize, as I said before, my core beliefs. I believe the teachers are the most important facet of our organization throughout SAISD. So if you are a teacher, whether you're from Jefferson or from one of the feeders, please stand right now. I know you're out there. I mean, I don't know if you're somewhere. Raise your hand. If you're already standing, raise your hand. And I know all 7 of my colleagues would brag on their teachers, but I want to tell you, I've got the best of the best. So thank you guys very much for that. Well, it goes without saying, every leader has to have a team behind them. And I've got an amazing team. I'd like to introduce them to you. They're standing right over here. I told them I was going to bring them up here and stand them in front of you guys and say, tell me one thing. What does Thomas Jefferson mean to you? But they kind of told me we're just going to walk out. So I'm not going to do that. But these are an amazing group of educators. So I'd like them to be recognized. You guys need to move over here just a little bit because they got to see you a little. Come here, Rob, this way a little bit. They got to see you a little bit. I could not do it without this group right here. I just couldn't do it. Louis De La Garza, our 9th grade principal. Joanne Harrington, 10th grade. Robert Reyes, 11th grade. Hemo Palos, 12th grade. Didi Christan, academics. Where is she at? Hope Garza, our lead counselor. She's part of our admin team. And then my first IB conference that I went to 3 years ago, I got to go to Florida. I was on the beach. I mean, I went to my sessions, but I was on the beach. So it was nice to be in Florida in October and be able to go to the beach. But I mean, the first thing they told me as a head of school is that you need to find 2 people that are going to be able to take your program where it needs to be. Those are the 2 most important people that are going to be on your campus. And we have 2 great ones over here. Jennifer Love, our MYP coordinator. Yareli Melendez, our DP coordinator. And I just want to say, Mary Garcia has done a great job of meshing our AVID program, our AVID strategies with our IB, and she's right here, Mary Garcia. Well, at this time, I would like to invite Ms. Delia McLaren from YWLA for a couple words. Yeah, you need that. Yeah, you need that.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Delia McLaren, the proud head of schools of the Young Women's Leadership Academy Network. So about 3 years ago, Mr. Martinez had a vision to replicate what we were doing at YWLA. And in conjunction with the state of Texas, we were able to replicate that in our YWLA primary school. So we're excited that now in SAISD, we're able to offer families a K through 12 single gender experience for young girls. So I'm going to recruit. If anybody has little ones, I will take them starting in elementary school. Our goal is always to prepare our young women who are interested in pursuing a college preparatory education to be prepared for college. And this is not just an academic preparation, but it is about everything that is needed to be prepared for college. So like Jefferson and many of our great schools here in SAISD, we do espouse and ensure that our girls have the strategies that they learn through AVID. The other thing that I would like to share with you is the commitment that the district, now being in elementary, Mr. Martinez, when he got here about what in 2015, we had a discussion about high expectations, and he has really taken that to heart. But as an elementary head of schools and working with our elementary team, I cannot tell you how enlightening it has been to do the Reading Academy. And let me tell you, I felt like I was in grad school again, doing that, the demand. But it has really given me some insight into how committed SAISD is to make sure that all of our students have what they need starting at the earliest age. I've learned about decoding, encoding, I mean, words that I hadn't seen since college. So I have to do a shout out to our leadership, Ms. Salzman, for expecting that from our teachers, from our administrators. And I can guarantee you that we are doing everything that needs to be done to prepare our girls, not just for college, but starting all the way down to elementary. And I just couldn't be prouder to be a part of SAISD. At the Young Women's Leadership Academy, we are a school that pretty much commits to educating the whole child. Our girls are prepared in a STEAM education. They are prepared to be leaders. Sometimes they want to run the school, and that's okay. You know, we give them that opportunity, but they do learn to take their voice and use it to help others. So those opportunities that we give them, even through everything that's going on in the pandemic, they've created masks to help those that need it. They've raised money to help those whose homes burned down, or whose families didn't have jobs, or who needed additional funds. It's that compassionate heart that we are so proud of. So it's not just the academics that we do at YWA, it's the character of our young women that is so, so important. But I do have to brag on some of the achievements. We have a couple of students that I believe you're going to see in a little bit that have gone and become QuestBridge scholars, so I won't give you that, but super proud of them. We have some students who are going to be competing at the International Science Fair. So starting in 6th grade, our girls are committed to doing everything that is science, because I believe that in these areas where young women continue to be underrepresented, we have to make sure that they know that they can do it. So we have Eileen and Brenda Romero Torres, who are going to compete at the International Science Fair. These young women are just incredible. They also placed second in a global competition for the National Institute of Health. So we know that given the supports to our young women, that they can achieve anything that they set their minds to. The other thing that I would like to share with you is that we are in April, and 100% of our young women have been admitted to a four-year university. Currently, the scholarship total is at $14.5 million for our 45 students. And we're excited that our girls are going to have options when they choose to go to college. We could not do what we do without the support of our parents and our teachers. Our teachers take their instructions seriously. They go to the next level. But when our parents support us in the home, that is the winning combination. So because of our families, because of our teachers, and the heart and commitment of our girls, we have been able to be nominated as a National Blue Ribbon School for the second time. So thank you. Back in 2015, we had received it for the first time. And I remember that first time we didn't even know what was going on. And so when we realized that they look at years of consistent data, and so you're either recognized for consistently high achievement or you're recognized for closing the gaps. The state of Texas has recognized us for closing those gaps. Last year, we went from 98 to 99, and so we'll take it. but the United States Department of Education recognized the teachers, the students for their hard work at YWA with a second nomination. So we are working on that application that is due next week. At this time, it is my great pleasure to introduce to you our leader and chief. Superintendent Pedro Martinez joined San Antonio ISD back in 2015, bringing to the district a laser-like focus on improving academic achievement. As a data-driven leader with in-depth knowledge of academic reform strategies, he firmly believes that students, all students, will rise to the challenge with the proper supports. That by setting the bar high, and he has, many more students will demonstrate the aptitude and aspiration to perform at higher levels and be well prepared for college and career. Under Superintendent Martinez's leadership, the district has risen to earning a B rating by the Texas Education Agency in the state's accountability ratings as of 2019. The district continues to soar and recently passed its largest bond package ever with $1.3 billion in bond approved by our community in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome as I proudly introduce our leader, Superintendent Pedro Martinez.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. So this is number 8 of our community meetings. And I'll tell you, I couldn't be more excited to see all of you here. One of the things that I love is that for us, one of the questions I get is, why are we doing this? Why the timing right now? Well, as you know, we've been in COVID, and Trustee Garza said it best. We have been doing things remotely. Our teachers have pivoted. But what we really love is that during this month when the community has gotten a lot safer, is we get a chance to show you our buildings. Because remember, back in 2016, our community approved a $450 million bond, and then we decided to prioritize our comprehensive high schools. And I'll tell you, I get the pleasure to come to the buildings and see what they're looking, and I can see where they're going with the construction and renovations. But many of our students have been learning remote, especially at the high school level. They've been learning remote all year long. We have not been able to allow visitors to come in because, again, we've been worried about safety. And so this month was the month to say, let's open up the buildings. Let's invite the community. And then, what we said is let's every year I do a State of the District address. Let's start with the community meetings first, and then we'll end with our normal State of the District where we bring in the chambers, we bring in our business community, and that is next week on the 27th. And actually, we're doing that at the Convocation Center. And by the way, we will be streaming that as well, but we wanted to lead with the community. So I just want to thank our trustees because they've been part of each one of these meetings. And for us, we just want to show you what we're doing. So please, if there's one thing I want you to do, take advantage of doing tours. Now, remember, and Trustee Garza and I, we have this conversation all the time. Every high school will be finished with this bond, everybody, every single space. So whatever is needed, it's gonna happen. So just know that, trust me, I know Ms. McLaren already has in her mind what the YWA is gonna look like, it's gonna happen. And I know Trustee Garza is already like, I can see all the different parts that need to be done. They're gonna happen, everybody. You blessed us with a $1.3 billion bond with a B, the largest ever in the city's history. It's gonna happen because of your desire and because of the commitment of our board and our staff. So I get a lot of questions about where are we at right now with COVID? What's happening and what's gonna happen next year, right? Because it's just around the corner. So right now, where are we at today? So one of the things I'm very proud of is that we've been able to have our district open. We've been able to keep it open. And I'll tell you, when you look at urban districts across the country, many districts were not able to open their doors. Some of them are barely opening right now. Some of them have opened with certain grades, but not with all grades. We've been able to stay open and stay open. We were able to get COVID testing in every one of our schools. By the way, we're one of the few districts in the country that has that in place. We also have rapid tests, what we have for fine arts and athletics. And then what that has really done for us is to really give us good information about what's happening in our schools. And I'll tell you, our positivity rate has always been averaging under 1%. And we've seen when there's tick-ups. And when there's tick-ups, we always, and community parents, you have been so patient with us, allowing us to gradually bring in students. As we speak today, we're at 50% of our students in person. And what we want to do is continue to bring in students, but to do it gradually. Right now, we're working with our parents so that we can, look at students that really, we know that for the majority of our students, learning in person is the best setting for them. But we also know some families that say, I want to wait, and we're honoring that. By the way, as of almost a week ago, a little more than a week ago, every staff person that wanted to get vaccinated is now fully vaccinated in our district. Every single staff person, by the way. Big deal, right? But we can't stop there. So last Friday, we started, with parents' permission, started vaccinating our high school seniors. So think about that for a second. We were able to get 200 students to go get vaccinated with their, and by the way, they had shots for their parents. So the parents were also able to get vaccinated. We're working with University Health. We have a survey right now where University Health is giving us slots, an average of 150 to 200, at least 3 days a week, where we're able to have high school students as young as 16, as well as when they're available for the parents as well and household members. So this week, as we're speaking, we're vaccinating 600, the majority students, but also some of the household members. That's happening right now as we speak, 600 this week. So we can't stop, folks. So what we want to do is, and again, it's always going to be with your permission, right? We will continue to do that. What we're learning right now is that vaccinations for students as young as 12 could be approved as early as next month. So if that happens, we'll start with our high school students, right, with 16 years, but then we'll start going all the way down to middle school. So imagine if we can get all of our sixth graders and up vaccinated, game changer, right? And our staff are vaccinated. And I'll tell you, for our high school seniors, first of all, let me acknowledge, are there any high school seniors in the room? I know there's a lot of students in the back and in the sides. So let's acknowledge our high school seniors, everybody, class of 2021. And so one of the gifts, and there'll be some surprise gifts that you'll see at graduation, but one of the gifts we want to give you is we want to get you fully vaccinated. First with COVID, and then next also with your meningitis shots. So for our parents, every college requires now meningitis shots to be for your students to have, your children to have them before they can go to college. If you wait, they cost over $200 a shot. And many times insurance doesn't cover it. So we are doing them for free now. So we're doing it for free so that our students don't have to worry about that when they start school. So again, those are some of the gifts we want to give our students. What about next year? So as I shared with you, I am hopeful that we'll have vaccines for children as young as 12. We don't see vaccines being approved for younger children under 12, not for probably until the end of the calendar year, potentially even 2022. So that we're going to keep watching that. So we're going to have the ability, parents will have the ability to start remotely if you want to this next school year. And so we're working with the state to have the proper legislation to allow us to do it. But my commitment right now to all of our families, if you want to start remote, you'll be able to start remote. And as long as you need to. And then the only thing we're going to ask is tell us what's holding you back from sending your children in person. So we want to make sure we know that. We're advocating, we're setting up right now so that we'll have COVID testing next year as well. And so for us, we want to just make sure that conditions are safe. But I'll tell you, for us right now, what I really am the most concerned about is I want to make sure our students are excited about school. This has been a difficult year for parents. This has been a difficult year for our staff and our students. And what I really want is to bring in as many children in person as long as parents feel comfortable doing it, ending strong. And then next year, when we start our programs, we want our children to be excited about school. So you're going to learn that our schools will start offering summer programs as early as July 19th. And it's going to be programs that have not only reading and math, but they're going to have science clubs. They're going to have robotics. They're going to have all, the fine arts, athletics, ROTC. So really for me, what I'm asking our staff is get our children excited about school. Because we know right now that our children have gone through a lot. Our families have gone through a lot. Our staff have gone through a lot. We need to recover together, right? We need to recover together. And so the other thing I'm going to just show you some slides and some information about our district. And then I believe Trustee Garza is going to give some highlights about the region. But there's a lot to be excited about. So let me start there. So first of all, just a little background about myself. So I've been blessed to be your superintendent now for 6 years. I myself, born in Mexico, first in my family to graduate from high school, first in my family to go to college. I'm the oldest of 12, 10 of us still alive. And I'll tell you, my parents never had more than a second grade education. When I think about our children, when I think a lot about my father, I think a lot about my siblings. My father, he was so talented that he taught himself 4 different instruments. He could hear a song one time and play it on those 4 instruments. His dream was to be a musician. That was his dream his whole life. Never got that chance because he always had to work 2 jobs, always trying to figure out how to help his family. He just never had that chance. And so he brought us to this country when I was turning 6 to give us a better opportunity. And every time we make a decision in our district, I think about, my father, I think about what his sacrifices were, and we ask ourselves, are we making the right decisions for our students? In my family, all of us have either finished or are finishing college. By the way, there's 4 teachers in the family. There's an oncology nurse who works with patients with the most severest cancer. I have a brother who, after high school, said, I need to go to the military. It was right after 9/11. He joined the Marines, did 2 tours in Iraq, came back healthy, finished his education, and right now he has a family. He has two little girls that look exactly like him. I keep kidding with him. It's like him with a wig, And what I realized with my family is that they all took different paths. Some of us went right after high school. I have a brother who I remember his name was Freddie. And no matter how much Freddie tried, he struggled in school. He just struggled in school. I think he had a learning disability, and at that time they weren't really diagnosed. And he just struggled. And he finishes with his GED. He even printed out and showed it to me. He's like, look, I got my GED. I'm like, okay, Freddie, okay. And then he went to the community college, enrolled himself because he loved being a mechanic. So he could actually take apart a truck engine and put it back together. I could never do that. As we speak now, he's actually creating his own trucking company. And I learned with my brothers and sisters that people have different paths. So if there's anything I want you to take from our message tonight, our goal is to help your son or daughter find that path. Whatever that path is, if we can inspire your son or daughter, they will be successful. I don't care what it is. So when you hear about all the programs we have, whether it's at Jefferson, at YWLA, the programs we're creating across all of our school levels, it is about getting your child on that path. So here's some data for us. So our state commissioner, for the first time in our district history, came to our district to announce statewide results. By the way, it was a big deal. It was a huge media conference. He went to Shank Elementary School in the South Side. Why Shank? Because Shank had been one of the most improved schools in the entire state. They went from a C to an A. And one of the things he said was, and by the way, he brought the lieutenant governor, he brought the speaker of the house, he brought the educational chairs, Representative Bernal was there. He had a whole party there. And he said, San Antonio ISD is actually a B district. And by the way, we knew that because we had done some projections. So we were excited about that. So he confirmed that, said it nationally. What I didn't know, and what we didn't know, was that not only that we were a B district, San Antonio ISD had the largest achievement gains of any district in the state of Texas. So think about that for a second. There are 1,200 school districts. We had the largest achievement gains. By the way, guess which feeder pattern had some of the biggest gains in the district? District 7. Jefferson High School, one of the biggest gains across the high schools. I always kid, Ms. McLaren, I say, they were already strong when I got here. And my goodness, when we saw their data, they just got stronger, folks. I mean, they just got stronger. And so we were excited about that. When I became superintendent, our state was just changing its accountability system. And what it was, especially for our parents, it was going to be more rigorous. So for me, I said, okay, that means that we're going to be preparing our students in a better way when they finish high school. But with that, when you have more rigor and the assessments are harder, guess what? Your ratings can go down. So we said, as a district, what would be our rating right now if this system was in place? And this was back in 2016. And they said, well, this would be your rating. So of course, when we saw that and you saw that letter grade, we said, oh, we got to fix this, right? So our staff, our principals, everybody said, we got to put some plans together. We started seeing improvements right away, everybody. You can see where we ended in 2019. The other thing we learned was that we had about 35,000 of our students that were, we considered failing seats, and they were in failing schools. Again, another sense of urgency for us. We, again, put immediately systems in place, our teachers doing God's work with our principals. Look at the improvements we made. We got that down to that low number in 2019. By the way, in 2020, because we didn't have testing because of COVID, our projections was the number you see there was going to be 70% less. So the trajectory that we were on was so strong. And so I'll tell you, most of our teachers, they were upset that testing got canceled. I don't know about the kids, but our teachers, they were upset that testing got canceled because they said, we wanted to show you, superintendent, we were ready. And in fact, one of the things that I saw in the previous 2 years, the gains were at scale. It was not 1 or 2 schools. It was not one region. We were looking at 68, 67% in the 17-18 year making gains. In the 18-19, over 70% of the schools were making gains. It was at scale. And so what I saw was a movement from our teachers that said, and our support person said, you know what? We can do this. Our students can do this. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I've seen in the last 6 years is that when we provide the supports to our students, they always exceed our expectations, always exceed them. And I'll tell you, parents, that's one of the things as a parent. I have 2 children, one turning 11, one is 7. Trust me, I have my bad days where I get really frustrated with them, but I always have to remember they're children. And when we support them and guide them, they will always exceed your expectations, even as parents. And so something that I just want you to know that I've seen as firsthand as a superintendent and as a parent, our graduation rates have been rising. Our dropout rates have never been lower, by the way. Our dropout rate district-wide under 10%, it's the lowest that it's ever been as a district in our district's history. In addition, not only are our students graduating, but they're graduating college ready. So what does that mean? So one of the challenges that we have is that children were graduating in the past, but when they would graduate, they would go to college, whether it was the community college or universities, and then they have to take remedial classes. What are remedial classes? They're taking classes in English or in math, but they're classes that don't count towards their graduation. They don't count towards their degree. Guess who pays for them? You do. Guess what, whether it's you're paying directly out of your pocket or out of your financial aid, you're paying for them and they don't count. So, I mean, to me, that's just a sin. And so we said, no, that cannot happen in San Antonio ISD. So our college readiness rate has almost doubled in the last 4 years. In fact, we now match the state in terms of college readiness. And folks, we are not stopping here. And so you're going to see some more stats, but our students are graduating better prepared than ever before. And in fact, it's showing up. And you know where it shows up? In scholarships. Our students, we have doubled from 50 million 5 years ago. We have doubled. In 2020, our students generated almost $100 million in scholarships. By the way, this year, I don't even want to see the number because we're in a record level. We have record Quest scholars. We have record Dell scholars. We have our first GATE awardee last night, and we have other finalists. By the way, a Dell scholar, we were in the single digits a couple of years ago. Each one of those students, $20,000 scholarships. Our Quest scholars, full rides. GATE scholars, by the way, is over $300,000 that they get. And we just got one of them last night that we got notified. So again, everybody, as our students are getting better prepared and they're graduating stronger, they're generating this kind of financial support, and they're getting into universities. We have the highest percent of our graduates now attending universities in our district's history. So that is what's happening in our district. So I get this question a lot about career tech. I said, well, superintendent, okay, you talk a lot about college, but what about the trades? What about, the plumbers, the electricians, and all these staff that that those jobs are really good paying jobs? And I said, you're right. But I want you to understand what's happening today. So the way it works in career tech is that our students get certificates, and think of it as a relay race. So they go part of the way in our high schools, and then they go to a trade or they go to a community college and they finish it up. And the analogy I like to use is it's a highway, right? So think of a highway where you can see it all, right? In multiple lanes, and you can get off. So you get your certificate first at the high school, then you go on to a trade or you go to the community college, you get your official certificate. You can get off, start working. But there's a ramp to get back on. So maybe you say, you know what? I want to go get my associate's degree because if I'm already 30 hours in terms of college credit, I'm going to go get the associates, right? So just another 30 hours. You jump back on. Then you say, okay, you know what? I want to jump off and go back to work. So you go back off. And then you realize, like, you know what? I can go get a bachelor's degree. I can be the boss, right? I could be the construction manager. I don't have to just be the entry-level person. They can get back on and get a bachelor's degree, and they can get back off and so on. And so that is what we're building. And in fact, one of the things that I'm excited about, every one of our high schools now has the ability for children to not only get career tech certificates, but also college credit. By the way, in many of our schools now, are going to have programs where students can get between 30 hours up to an associate's degree. Think about this. Our high school students can get an associate's degree. By the way, they go to their graduation for their college before they even go to the graduation for the high school. And they get that at the same time within, we have those programs now across every school. And we also have our international baccalaureate programs, which again are some of the gold standards when it comes to college credit, as well as our advanced placement classes. So one of the things that I learned from speaking to parents and grandparents, a lot of our alumni, there was a superintendent, I have a lot of fond memories of my school, but I'll tell you, I wasn't that prepared. I really had a hard time. I either started college and I couldn't finish, and I just wasn't prepared. And what we said is, no, our students have to be ahead. They cannot be behind. They have to be ahead. And how do you get them ahead, everybody? You put them in college while they're still in high school. You put them in college courses. That is what we're doing across our high schools. And look at our career tech. Remember the relay race I shared with you? So back in 17, only 17 of our students were getting these certificates. Look at the increase we've had now in in 2019 was the last year, 645, or 2020, 645. By the way, we're on record to exceed that again. So this is the relay race that we're creating. So again, everybody, and this is what I want to keep saying, is that the goal is to help your children reach their dream, whatever that dream is. We have a culinary program where we're in a partnership with the Culinary Institute of America in about 4 of our high schools. Those students get 30 college credit hours in the Culinary Institute of America so they could finish their degree as part of the program. So if you want to be a chef, we have those programs in our district. But again, the goal is to get you there to where you want to be, where you want to go. And so I'm going to show you a video now of all these programs that exist across our high schools. And these are, you'll hear about P-Tech and career tech programs. And what I want you to take from this video, these programs can be replicated. So in other words, you're going to see, think of them as a sampling of programs, and we want to see what excites our students. And if you see something that you want at Jefferson or you want at YWLA, we can replicate it. That is the goal. But take a look at this video.
A P-Tech program is a school within school model. That means that a K through 12 Institute of Higher Education, industry and business partners, we allow students to earn a high school diploma as well as a post-secondary credential.
There are several outcomes that we seek when we have students in a P-Tech program. We want them to connect with industry all the way starting from 9th grade all the way through 12th grade, and actually connect with industry partners so they get an understanding of what industry they're focusing their work in, and they are actually connected to people in the industry. So when they do graduate, they have the opportunity to create that network, those opportunities to get that work-based learning experience, to actually get a job once they graduate or continue their education.
The ideal classroom at Edison P-Tech School of Business is one where students are engaged, highly engaged in order to succeed, where you'll see a lot of project-based learning. You'll see students interacting with one another, creating ideas, learning from one another.
At the Construction Science P-Tech at City Miller High School, we actually have an emphasis within 2 main strands, our construction technologies, construction science and management. You learn more about the sciences behind the construction industry. So you actually get to learn how to become a foreman and be the boss of the work site. In the power generation and alternative energy pathway, our students will be learning different skills necessary to work on solar panels or wind turbines.
When you enter the hallways at Fox Tech High School, the first thing that you notice is that it's different than any other high school because it looks like a hospital. We teach students from day one how to conduct themselves as medical professionals.
A student should enroll in Cyber P-Tech at Sam Houston High School if they're interested in information technology, computers, coding, and mostly if they're wanting to be able to join the workforce immediately in a high-wage, high-demand job.
In the P-Tech program, students will spend some time here at Highlands campus and some time at St. Philip's College, getting to actually build and fix airplanes, working with electronics on our manufacturing equipment, and working with robotics and animation. It's a really hands-on program.
P-Tech students are prepared to graduate from high school with a post-secondary credential. It allows career and technical pathways to occur while they are in high school, preparing them for high-wage, high-demand jobs.
I want you to have in these programs, it's again, they can be replicated. I'll give you an example. So at Fox Tech, we have a program where our students can become registered nurses. So they can get their associate's degree while they finish high school. In 2 years after that, for free at San Antonio College, because they'll be certified to do this, they can get their full RN bachelor's degree, their full registered nurse bachelor's degree. Folks, that's 2 years after high school. That is the pathways we're creating. And so again, for me, it's figuring out what is it that motivates your child. And then again, we can develop and create and duplicate these kind of pathways. The other thing we've done is we are big in the arts. I'll tell you, one of the things that I love, and I don't know about you, my eyes swell when I see our mariachi students. When I saw them in Jefferson and those amazing suits that they have on, I mean, the pride that our students have. And so I want you to know our board is doubling down on fine arts. And so I want you to hear from Dr. Lauenbach of all the investments we're making, and we're seeing it in the student achievement gains.
Parents and community members can rest assured that fine arts facilities and programs are a priority in the 2020 bond and the 2016 bond. All of our elementary students have access to a visual arts class, and all but 2 of our campuses have access to an elementary music program. At the secondary level, all of our academies and middle schools have access to at least 2 fine arts programs at each campus. And that can be theater, dance, visual art, and any of our music programs, which include mariachi, orchestra, choir, and band. And at the high school level, all of our neighborhood schools have access to at least 6 fine arts programs. Thanks to all of the attention and improvements that the district has invested in our fine arts programs, we've seen an immediate increase in student achievement. So there's a tremendous benefit to participation in the arts, and our community and district leadership understands that.
So I have to brag on Dr. Lautenbach. Since he's been here in the district, we have seen awards across the board in fine arts. From music, by the way, we just received for the 3rd year in a row, one of the most prestigious National Music Award for not only the quality of the programs, but the accessibility to all of our students. And so again, ladies and gentlemen, that is the district that who we are now. The other topic that I want to touch on is on dual language. So, you know, when I got here in the district back in 2015, we had 2 dual language programs, and they were good programs. One was at Bonham, one was at HERF. I heard a lot about the programs. One of the things that I saw, though, when I looked at our student data was that when you looked at the students who were English language learners, and you looked at the students who just had left becoming English language learners because they learned enough English, it was about 30% of our students. And they were struggling. Many of them were barely graduating very underprepared. And one of the things we saw is just that they were just behind. And so me, myself, being an English language learner, when I came to this country, you know, I saw one of the strongest leaders, Dr. Olivia Hernandez, who at the time was in Austin, and she had just created the largest dual language program in the country. And I asked Dr. Hernandez, I said, tell me what is the best way to help our English language learners? And he said, Superintendent, it's easy, it's dual language. So we recruited her, we brought her to San Antonio. She brought national experts. It was the authors, like the experts in the country came to talk to our teachers, came to talk to our parents. It was interesting, you know, I said, Dr. Hernandez, you know, let's go slow. This is San Antonio. And by the way, I had done some of my research. I talked to parents and grandparents, and they said, you know, Superintendent, when I came to school in South Texas, including here in San Antonio, we weren't encouraged to speak Spanish. We weren't encouraged to really look at our culture. We just weren't. And so I said, you know, let's go kind of slow here because it might be a little tricky in South Texas. So we started talking to parents, started talking to teachers. In the first year, we went from 2 schools to 10 schools. And I said, oh, that's a little fast, but okay, all right, you know, we're going to phase them in. Then it became 20 schools. Then it became 30 schools. Ladies and gentlemen, as of this fall, and you heard Jefferson High School being added, we will be in 60 of our 92 schools will have dual language programs in our district. And what I love about our programs, it's not just the language. They're grounded in learning about our culture, learning about our identity, being biliterate. And that for us is the pride that we want to bring to our children. Because we know, and I've seen this firsthand, we have students who struggled on the state assessments like in middle school. And then we put them in a dual language program, like in biology, in a technical course at the high school level, almost 90% pass those state assessments. I mean, they're just, again, because we're valuing the language, we're valuing the culture. By the way, they take the assessments in English. So it just shows you, again, when you support them, how they exceed our expectations. The other thing I want to share with you is, this has been a difficult year, but there's been some silver linings. Because of COVID, we were forced to make sure that our children had technology. And you're going to hear from Dr. Thompson about all the work that he's leading in our technology department. Our transportation department, our food service department, they wanted to support the community. They wanted to be part of it, and you're going to hear their story as well.
Within the last 6-8 months, our district is truly a one-to-one district, both with Chromebooks and iPads. Now every student have their own dedicated device for learning. Another term that you'll hear in San Antonio is flagship classrooms. What those are model classrooms. They will be equipped with all the technology tools from the infrastructure, the laptop carts, the smart boards, all of the tools necessary for our future vision. Part of the technology strategy was learning everywhere. When they get on the bus in the morning, we wanted connectivity. When they get to school, we wanted connectivity anywhere on their campus. And the last piece of that puzzle was connectivity at home. So as a result of a partnership with the city of San Antonio, at the cost of $27 million, we have now started deploying internet access to our students' homes.
So we've got the coolest buses. All of them have Wi-Fi, so students can access tons of electronic books through the Bibliotech website that they can get on one of our buses. Our buses have GPS. They have a student badge program. All of our buses have both interior and exterior cameras. All of our route buses have AC. And then our new school buses have automatic anti-brake control and anti-skid control. Right now, about 40% of our school buses are propane. It emits fewer toxins. So our students who have asthma or breathing problems, it totally eliminates those for our students. So when the pandemic started, there was a concern about making sure that our students and our parents got food during this trying time. And so I know we called our drivers and all of them wanted to come in and help. We almost had about 100 school buses delivering meals. Each bus would deliver about 250 meals a day. And then we also delivered books as well, which was neat, and technology items as well too.
So everybody, now I'm going to ask Trustee Garza to come up and give a Trustee 7 report. Let me just say a few words about Trustee Garza. So I'll tell you, for my staff and I, we adore only, he can be sometimes, I'll tell you, I'll say this, he can be a pain on our butt sometimes. I'll just say this. Because the one thing I would say about Trustee Garza, and I think it goes back to him being the mayor, he walks this neighborhood all the time. And he goes by all the schools. And so whenever he sees something at a school that doesn't look right, immediately I get a call, my staff get a phone call, like, oh, Trustee Garza is out there in the neighborhood again, which is almost every day. And so he loves this community so much that I'll tell you that that's one of the things that even though he can be a pain in our butts, we know it's all out of love. This man is very committed to making sure that our children here in District 7 have what they need. And I'll tell you, he will be your advocate no matter what. So Trustee Garza.
That was the best introduction coming back up. I don't mind being that pain. So just keep them coming, community. Keep the comments coming, and we want the best. And you just heard where we've come from academically. And sometimes the superintendent will tell me, okay, I get it, that the sprinklers are on when they shouldn't be. Okay, I get it when we have other issues related to some of the AC issues. And he says, but the academics, and that's the priority. Academics have to be our priority. And so it's been a wonderful balance of exchanging ideas and comments and priorities. We're about to begin the budget process. And so it's imperative that we hear from you on what those budget priorities. And I'm fortunate that I know so many folks in the community and teachers, and sometimes I'll have parents tell me something, or teachers or administrators. It's okay. You can share your comments. You can share your feedbacks and students. So many of our students, because that's what it's all about, is to take your priorities to the district and to see the results. So I'm going to move forward here on the presentation. So I wanted to just go over some of the highlights in our area, District 7, and to have a National Blue Ribbon nominated school twice in the heart of District 7 with the Young Women's Leadership Academy. I cannot brag enough about Ms. McLaren and the young ladies. I'm telling you, they were already on a path to be a priority school in the bond, but they weren't having any part of that. They were going to make sure that it was a 7-0 vote. They were going to make sure that the community heard that it's not just about the academics, it's also about the environment, and that we have to have an environment that reflects our values, that reflects our standards. And while we have beautiful historic buildings in our community, and Jefferson being the flagship, but guess what? We have so many more historic structures now in SCISD that have been deemed historic that we're even hiring a new historic specialist. But we also have to make them modernized. We have to make them functional for our students and our campuses. So you can see here the highlights academically. Of course, he talked about Jefferson's big turnaround in 2019, Principal Halderman and his staff and his team. They were bordering on F, and they came a long way with these new rules and these new expectations that TEA laid out, and transformed to one of the most improved high school in Texas, especially among the urban districts, to see a 17-point turnaround. So congratulations to all the staff here. And again, we talked about the Young Women's Leadership Academy, and they continue to be the standard for which all of our schools need to model, not only academically, but parent and family engagement. There's an interview process that YWA goes through to make sure that the families aren't committed to academic rigor and the values they're going to be taught in leadership and developing these young ladies into not only scholars, but great citizens. And that's something we aspire for all of our campuses through our new academic and school performance framework that we're going to be engaging more families at all of our campuses. And then we had some great results in some of our feeder schools. Baskin has always been a strong academic campus, and they continue to lead the way, and a big turnaround at Madison as well. And all of our schools had some great successes academically. And you can see here from the offerings, I can tell you 10 years ago, 6 years ago, if we talked about all the offerings, it was very slim. It was just a traditional offering. And because of our students and the diversity that we have in our community and the competition, let's face it, we started to see competition coming all around us in the private schools and the external charter schools. And our district was not afraid to tackle that and to take it on and to provide the same opportunities within our district through in-district charters and powerful partnerships that you see here. And that's just in District 7, the International Baccalaureate, the dual language, and the choice programs that are now offered at many of our campuses. And that starts at the early childhood options as well. We're very proud of Nelson as being our flagship in early childhood development and our wonderful Head Start program at many of our schools. You heard about the scholars that have been acknowledged nationally, and the high numbers here in SCISD, and the scholarships. We were Burbank the other night, 28 million. And that's something that we're going to be aspiring to, especially in this community with YWA and with the International Baccalaureate here. Last year was a first class of graduates, but over close to 20 million combined. And now just to highlight a few students that I think should be recognized because they've worked hard. I was never the academic one in my family. My brother was valedictorian. So fortunately we had one in our family. I was always the one after, and all the teachers thought I would be like my brother. So I had to be different. You know what I'm talking about, Ethan and DJ. But we have the Wadiano twins here at Jefferson High School. They couldn't be here tonight. They're at a funeral, but their story is powerful. And you look at what they're going to be, the options that they have to attend Purdue University, to attend Notre Dame University. They're starting to get their award letters in, and I want to acknowledge Hope Garza, the counselor staff here, the team here at Jefferson High School. I know it began with their freshman counselor, but we want to commend them for their success. We also have the Solis family here, and Janelle, you want to stand? I know where she's here present. Janelle Solis, also one of the International Baccalaureate students here. She's active in many activities, including the Spanish Honor Society, and she's also an athlete, all academics in soccer and all district in soccer. So we want to congratulate her and her younger sister. You've set the tone. So one is the academics, the other ones were the popular ones, so that's okay. No, but she's just as smart. So congratulations to the family. And we also have another young lady that is here with us. I'd like to ask her to stand, Allison Fernandez. I know you're somewhere in the audience. So there she is. And she was just highlighted by Representative Diego Bernal on his social media for her activism, and not only in the IB, but she's been participating in a number of leadership programs throughout her 4 years at Jefferson. And we're very proud of her accomplishments, and to her family as well. Congratulations. And we have now 3 at YWLA. I'd like to recognize that we're able to be here tonight, but we have the valedictorian, Caroline Evangelista. And I want to recognize her for not only being one of our Questbridge scholars. Let's give her a round for that. In fact, the next 3 are Questbridge scholars. But she will also be matched at Brown University. Is that the school of her choice? Brown University. So we're very proud of her academic, but also her interest in the fine arts and poetry, and her success in expressing herself in many different ways. And now we have Armani Carrion, and she's also a Questbridge scholar. Let's give Armani, she's not here today, but let's give her a round of applause. She will be attending the University of Notre Dame. So that's 2 Notre Dame. We're gonna have to get them connected so they can network, but 2, they're going to Notre Dame from this group that we're recognizing here. And she has also been an active leader in the mental health at her campus and civic organizations here in San Antonio. So we're gonna be seeing her, I'm sure, come back and take her leadership role in that profession. And our 3rd student, Shreya Deenan, and she is she ranked number, not necessarily ranked in that order, okay, but she's going to be attending the UT Austin, and I can't read all of it here, but she's in the biomedical engineering program, and she's also been a Volcker medical research scholar within the UT Health System. She's been involved in the robotics team, Stand Up, founder of Stand Up, Speak Out, and a youth advocacy council. So let's give her a round of applause as well. And let's give all of our students that we just recognized here a round of applause. And to hit the video is this.
The goals or the purpose of the International Baccalaureate programs are to make sure that we're addressing the evolution of the whole child. So we're concerned about academic improvement, but we're also concerned about their personal improvement, their personal growth and development, and not just from an external perspective of teachers or the adults being the ones that force that change, but inviting students to be part of that conversation as well as that evolution of themselves.
The unique skills that I learned in the IB program, you know, being in my 2nd year of the diploma program, you really take into account like being open-minded, being reflective, being principled. And so, you know, gaining those skills, I'm able to reflect on not only myself, but also like situations that others had been in.
The 3 programs that we have here in San Antonio ISD are the IB Primary Years program. That's for our elementary school kiddos, again, pre-K or K through grade 5. And then we also have the IB Middle Years program, which starts in grade 6 and continues through 10. And then we have the IB Diploma program, which is grades 11 and 12.
So I want to be challenged not only like in life, but also academically. And that's something that the IB program offers.
I think some of what parents might find interesting about IB programs is that they truly want to engage students in becoming what the mission statement has, active, compassionate, lifelong learners. And in doing so, we want kiddos to become advocates for their own learning and not just dependent on the adults in their life to bring information to them, but they would be willing to go gather information as well.
Great presentation there. Oops, I went a little too fast there. So now we're going to move to the information on our bond. And this is just a highlight, as I mentioned at the beginning, what you'll be seeing in the Bond 2020 program. I just shared with Principal McLaren that Young Women's Leadership Academy is going to benefit from some of the lessons learned here at Jefferson because they also have a combination of historic and new. But I can tell you the cafeteria we're standing in is a huge improvement from where we were, and it's not finished yet. We still have, there's going to be a really nice mural that's going to be on the, it's a transparent mural on this glass windows here that Ms. Reyna. Sylvia, you want to stand and be recognized? I know you worked really hard with the Thomas Jefferson Historic Preservation Society. And you're going to see a lot of the historic branding, the IB branding, the college and Avid branding when all of these final pieces are put in place. And so this has been a work in progress. If you go later in the hallways, you might see some of the brass door handle hardware not there. It's being restored and repaired. So please be patient. Don't freak out like I did. And that was one of the calls I made because I knew how the community would react when they saw that. So we are bringing in historic specialists that, again, can help find that balance of doing it right and providing the security that we need in classrooms, as well as all of the technology. So you'll start seeing some of that throughout the campus here today, but know that it's still the next phase that you're really going to start seeing all the pieces coming together in these 3 phases. And for the community, I know many a times we've heard the high schools again, those comprehensive high schools again. And it's really, when you look at the size of these schools, the number of students that they serve, the age of the structures. In fact, Burbank High School is being built from scratch. Highlands High School was built brand new back from scratch. Jefferson High School, it's really a restoration project. But when you talk about restoration, it's a lot of detail, and especially in this campus, it's every little square inch of building that, again, when I hear complete, I'm going to go to the superintendent and say, well, what about over there? I didn't see that touched over there. So be patient with us because, again, we're going to do that. Longfellow also, it's in its 2nd major phase. They were one of the first schools to accommodate a consolidation of the middle school, which allowed for the Young Women's Leadership Academy. And they had some growing pains that first couple of years where they were pushing 1,200 students at Longfellow, which made it bigger than some of our high schools. Just to put it in perspective, and not until Woodlawn offered PK through 8th and not until Fenwick offered the academy did we see some of that pressure taken off Longfellow. And now you're able to see a final push for completion of that program as well. So keep a lookout for some of these improvements throughout our campuses. And we look forward to the ribbon cuttings and all the groundbreakings that we'll be having in the coming months. So thank you very much. We're going to turn it back over to our superintendent where we have some questions that were submitted, I believe, as well as some cards that you are provided with if you want to submit a question as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Garza. Thank you, Trustee Garza. So again, everybody, if you have questions, there's some note cards that you may have out that I think we've given. We did get one question that maybe I would bring it back to Trustee Garza or maybe to one of our principals about alumni groups. You know, there's such a richness of alumni groups, including YWLA. Now you're creating multiple alumni groups. How can alumni groups be a bigger part of the schools and be a bigger part of supporting our district? So I would love to turn it over to Trustee Garza or to our principals just to even give some ideas.
And before I answer that question, I did want to introduce Ms. Davis. I know she came in after the introductions, but she is our partner here at the Jefferson High School and all of the IB schools, really. So please stand and be recognized. Thank you for joining us. The flights, okay. Okay. Well, thank you. So the question was related to the alumni groups, and I see several here. We have the Alasso Alumni Association who is here. They're very active with a very specific organization here at Jefferson. There's other groups that have been involved, Historic Preservation Society, and I know Young Women's Leadership, now that they have almost a full decade almost of graduates. We're almost there. I know they're 10 years old, but not yet 10 graduating classes. We need that powerful partnership with our alumni. I was visiting with a lady right here on Gramercy the other day, and she's retired now. She wants to get involved. I said, well, look, all you have to do is fill out the background check and we'll get you connected with our community. Once we get the COVID situation controlled, we need the community. So it's not just alumni that we need to be involved and engage in our community, but really all of our residents that have the time to get involved. We've talked about it at the school board meetings. Every child needs an advocate. Every child needs an advocate. It's just that simple. Just like now we have the one-to-one for technology, we need the one-to-one advocacy for every student. And if it's not coming from the home, and I know, again, we have so many students that can't come from every teacher, every counselor, every social worker. We just don't have enough bodies inside the campus. That means it must come from alumni, from the neighborhood, from partners that come into our schools. So we'll be expanding on that now that we can continue to start meeting in person. Look for more information on that as well. Thank you.
We have a question around the current bond restoration. So maybe if you want to give us more details and I can repeat, go ahead, ma'am.
I know that restoration is dear to San Antonio Parks, but again, there's a balance that needs to be created with SAISD facilities people. Because as an organization, we spent close to $250,000 restoring that fountain, but it took many months to coordinate with SAIC facilities to get it maintained. We had put money aside for maintenance, but SAIC decided to take it over, which was fine. What we just want to know is that can we not, as an organization, we work very hard to work with SAIC closely. And now I understand Fort Collin Carson is going to be involved in the restoration. I have a personal working relationship with them. And of course, Boone Powell being a graduate of Jefferson. So again, I would like to emphasize that we have wonderful things going on here with Jefferson. The school is the pride of San Antonio in the district. So I'm hoping that all of us can coordinate together and have a much more responsible journey when it comes to Jefferson restoration.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question really is how do we make sure that we can collaborate with all of our partners, including our community leaders around the restoration of Jefferson, right? And by the way, as Trustee Garza said, we have several schools that might be being restored or a mixture of restoration as well as some new construction within the buildings. And so know that you have our commitment. One of the things that I love about now that we have this large bond that got passed by the community, reality is now we have the resources. And in fact, I'll tell you, one of the things that I'm challenging my staff as I'm going to the buildings is that, historically we would do something and we would say, okay, we'll finish up the parts that are needed, right? We'll renovate the parts of this room that are needed, but the parts that are okay, yeah, we'll leave them alone. And I'll tell you, what I'm telling the team now is you don't have to do that anymore. We have the resources. So let's do it right from the beginning. And so, the architects that we're selecting, they're the top. I mean, this was one of the top restoration architects in the state and one in the country. And so really for us, everybody, the message we want to send to our community is that you have trusted us with the resources, with these referendums. We have the resources. Let's partner together. You have our commitment. We're going to make it easier for us to work with our community leaders because we all have a vested interest. And what I want, and I know this is what Trustee Garza wants, we want pride. We want you to feel proud of our district, proud of the classrooms, proud of the spaces. So again, just know that you have our commitment to work with you and to make it easier for you. Any other questions? Again, everybody, I want to respect your time, but take advantage. Walk through the spaces. They're not done yet. Oh, yes, ma'am. Go ahead, man. Why don't you go ahead and I'll repeat it.
My son graduated from Jefferson High School, and
and I'm proud to say that was in the Jefferson Mustang band. And what I would like to say is, since I live here, I don't run like Ed does. He doesn't walk, he runs. And I want to say how proud I am of Ed Garza, because Ed Garza listens, he listens.
So Ms. Henrietta LaGrange literally just giving a compliment to Trustee Garza that, first of all, he doesn't just walk, he runs, and that's true, folks. He's always jogging, but that he listens to his community. So just wanting to acknowledge that.
What I want to know is how you vet this construction company. Not only how you vet up, because I live here, I see those big storage bins full of waste material that is blowing into our communities, and they are not covered. We have a lot of children, a lot of seniors, a lot of adults that have illnesses, and I know for a fact that they've gotten sicker because those containers are left with a lot of waste material that is not covered. I addressed it to one of the men, and I might say he was not very kind because I brought it to his attention, but it's not good because anyway, I asked for specific papers to find out if there was asbestos in the school. I was not given the right information. I did it as an open records act, and I think this community needs to know if there was asbestos or there is asbestos in the schools. And I want to thank each and every one of you for the opportunity to thank you, but also our health is very important. And also, I want to say, they have the porta potties back there. They were open, they're not closed, right there by the students, and they were removed 4 months later after I brought it here. So I don't know who's in charge of your construction inspection, but I would like to talk to him or her. I hope it's a woman, an empowered woman like myself.
Well, first of all, Mrs. LaGrange, first of all, I want to just thank you for your activism and the fact that you care so much for this community. And know that, we will make sure we hold our contractors accountable. We will make sure we hold our own staff accountable. So you have my commitment on that. We'll actually reach out to you so that we can get even more details on some of the concerns, and we will address them. But, Ms. LaGrange, as everybody, she is looking out for your community. So let's give her a hand, because she's advocating to make sure that our community is safe. So again, everybody, I want you to, again, take advantage of the tours. Trustee Garza and I will be here. Our principals will be here if you want to walk up to us and have more questions. But thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. Actually, we got one more thing.
Hold on, ladies.
We have one more thing, everybody. We have one more video that we're going to play. Sorry, I always do this. We close out with a video with Trustee Garza, and then Principal Haldeman has some instructions for the tours.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, please don't leave. We've had teachers, students waiting to showcase their talents for you. We've got some performances for you guys to look at. So if you would, just go ahead and take a seat. There's a 2-minute video, I believe, a virtual tour of Thomas Jefferson High School. And after this 2-minute video, we're going to go ahead and split you up into groups, and we're going to have you be able to see our lassos, lariats, drumline. We've got our students waiting to perform. So please give us that opportunity to do that. So we'll go ahead and turn over this to the video.
Welcome to the Thomas Jefferson High School. I'm Ed Garza, SEISD trustee for District 7. I'm excited and honored to give you a tour of the many transformations happening in this historic landmark campus, from upgrades, renovations, and restorations. Here we are home of the mighty Mustang. Construction of this campus began in the early 1930s, and the school became a beacon of light, hope, education, and proud tradition of graduates over the decades. Shortly after it was completed, the campus became known worldwide when Life magazine named it the most architecturally outstanding high school in America, and its magazine cover featured the Jefferson Lassos. At SAISD and at Jefferson High School, we are student-centered with high expectations, commitment, and passion for students and everything we do. Let's take a tour so I can show you around. We are in the heart of one of San Antonio's culturally rich neighborhoods on a sprawling 30-plus acre land. Upon entering, you'll notice beautifully tiled floors, chandelier ceilings, and storied walls lined with accomplishments and trophies. Around the back is a special area called the Arcade and Senate, places where students congregate before or after school and enter the building to attend classes. Many of our classrooms feature the International Baccalaureate or IB Diploma curriculum, a distinctive program that positively impacts students, schools, and their wider communities with learning that goes beyond the classroom. Among our other offerings, we boast animation, architectural design, audio and video production, graphic design and illustration, health science, horticulture science, law enforcement, advanced placement, dual credit, world languages, art, band, choir, mariachi, music, orchestra, sports, theater, and the world famous Lassos. Our special education program is robust. Through athletics and student clubs, we offer aquatics, basketball, cross country, football, golf, soccer, tennis, volleyball, track, cheer, Lariat's Pep Squad, student council, JROTC, journalism, photography club, art club, chess club, and architecture club. We are proud of the Bond 2010 and 2016 work that will be completed by 2022, and also excited about the next phase and final phase of this Bond program, Bond 2020, which we will begin shortly. Bond work already has brought us brand new modern cafeteria, which includes our famed student union. Plus, locker rooms and gyms are completely renovated, and we can't wait for our athletes to compete here again. Come join us here at Thomas Jefferson IB World School and see what Mustang Pride is all about.